Hi, friends. So, I just lost 30 minutes of content just because I'm doing too much with my phone. But basically, I wanted to share a reading that I did today that initially was a personal reading, tarot reading, but I feel like the message might resonate with the collective or like some of you, so just wanted to share. Again, this weekend was a global day of meditation because of Saturday being April 4, 2020, so 444. So usually when there's like, repeated numbers, it's like it opens portals and there's like really strong energies. So I have been just recording videos and just like sharing content, and just as a way of connecting and just as my own self-expression. So the intention of these videos is just to connect, as I said, and hopefully this has a message for you. So let's start with the reading again. So basically what I'll do is just kind of show you the cards and then read the highlights. But the tarot deck that I'm using I really love. It's called Next World Tarot and it's by Cristy Road, and is the tarot deck of the Revolution. I really, really like it. Just the imagery and, the movement, inspired cards and messages, and it's really beautiful. So definitely check it out. So I wanted to start with 2 destination cards. So basically, maybe I'll show you. Again, this started as a personal reading, but it was too good that I wanted to share with you. So this is the reading. And it's a journey, right? And there's 2 destination cards here. The first destination card that I got is the Star. Which is Aquarius energy, air. Which is perfect for today and or times, because if you're following spirituality and astrology, we're entering the age of Aquarius. So the fact that this came out as a destination card is so perfect. It's so telling. So let's see what the Star says. And again, I'll just read the highlights. Okay. So the Star is a birth of a planet. As the past settles into ashes, dark matter, and our memories, the Star is setting an intention. She creates vivid masterpieces unlike anything she has made before. She found a new voice and new art that allow her truth to manifest through new angled conceptual methods. She's constantly reinventing herself, continuously and thoughtfully, moving into adulthood and a divine future ancestor. This card, this energy, is asking you to connect to the earth without the influence of trauma. I'm gonna read that again. The Star is a light asking you to connect to the earth without the influence of trauma. The Star is asking you to search for a reworked goal, a new path, a new commitment, or a personal rebirth with a spirit that carries wisdom from the past. The Star is here to remind you that you are now ready to enter a metamorphosis, rage and healing. Meet your highest self. I feel like there's wow, like the message here is so good and so important. That whole line about um, connecting to the earth without the influence of trauma. I feel like, there's so much trauma, and, especially in our work, we deal with so much trauma as, in our movement work and in our communities. And while it's important to name and acknowledge this trauma so that we're able to heal, I also hold and ask myself, who am I past my trauma? Who are we as a society past our traumas? Because I feel like there's been so much trauma that it has become a way to define ourselves. So I think the age of Aquarius and this card, the star, I think is asking us, who are we past that? Yeah, what is our personal rebirth? And again, so I love this line too. Rebirth with a spirit that carries wisdom from the past lives. So still acknowledging our ancestors. Could be movement ancestor, it doesn't have to be, blood or spirit ancestors. Nature ancestors, right? So still like the foundation, that wisdom, still keeping it alive. But then what are we creating? And I love the first line. It says the star is the birth of a planet. So I think this is what people are talking about around these times being change, right? Like we're birthing new societies, but the fact that it says a whole new planet, it's very powerful. So the second destination card is the sun. So of course the energy, the element being fire, sign is Leo. And it's just so cool that this is one of our cards, one of our destination cards, because I've been working on a meditation around sunlight, and just like how there's so many answers that we can find in sunlight, not only physical answers, so not only getting our vitamin D and not only getting nutrition, but just going a little bit deeper on what the sun means to us and life, and just kind of celebrating life. So that's yeah, so, and then again it's like the star and then the sun. So let's see what the sun says. Let's see what the highlights are. The sun is raw enthusiasm and conscious levity. She defies rules and art and allows her dreams to be extra. The sun reminds us that we are in charge of our ability to love. The sun is asking you to allow the light of birth, healing and rebirth, and raw joy to give power to your creative wisdom as you manifest a future that serves you. The sun reminds you to fortify your soul in tranquility and prepare for the sparkling intersections between calm and chaos. The sun's rays shake systems and enlighten communities. She's asking you to do the same, to open the floodgates to the joy, confidence, and revolutionary self-love you deserve. So fortifying our soul in tranquility and preparing for sparkling intersections between calm and chaos definitely resonates. And then revolutionary self-love that you deserve. So, again, I think just a reflection on staying at home, because of the pandemic. But obviously not everyone is able to stay home. So, also holding that. And I think for many of us, that are able to stay home, just kind of reflecting on, okay, like, what does revolutionary self love mean in this moment? Especially because so many of us, have or define ourselves according to our productivity and according to the work that we're able to do, and, the outer world. So just reflecting on that, and also reflecting on in this moment, yeah, lots of feelings, especially being overwhelmed. I know I've definitely experienced that, being overwhelmed to the point that, I want to make sure that I'm taking action and that I'm supporting, efforts. There are so many efforts in this moment, so much need. But then finding myself exhausted or like too overwhelmed to take action. And I also wanted to mention, and acknowledge and name that a lot of the actions that are happening right now is because people have been laying that foundation for years, right? So we see, organizing around rent strikes, and affordable and fair housing. And so people have been working on this for years, right? On laying this foundation and organizing, and also so many, mutual aid efforts that, of course, the anarchist community has been working on laying that foundation for so many years. And so, just want to extend my gratitude, for the years and years of work and being able to have a foundation for this moment. So there's definitely a lot of work to do. And as I was saying, I think many of us are overwhelmed and many of us are not sure how to do that work. So I think just, continue to take it day by day. And then, just reflecting on what self-love means in this moment. Especially as, we stay at home and we're also like holding so much, right? I know so many people are just like trying to work, in the middle of this global pandemic, and not necessarily having like all the resources or people around us. So I just continue reflecting on what does revolutionary self-love mean to me. So those are our 2 destination cards. And so yeah, again, like, it's a journey. And oops, I keep doing that, I'm sorry for my very rudimentary YouTube editing skills and recording skills. So the start of our journey started with the 3 of Swords. You see, it's a heart that is pretty beat up, is sorrow. The energy is Saturn in Libra. So I think this is where we've been, just like very heartbroken, too heartbroken, betrayed. When I look at that card, I also, have this feeling of betrayal. Maybe, like systems, right? That we thought were something, but they were not, and they just been like betraying and oppressing people for so long. So let's see what the 3 of Swords says. You have found access to the crevice in your heart that remains scattered from trauma and loss. The 3 of Swords is either melancholy or self-sabotaging, yet unlearning a trauma that they believe to be much larger than themselves. This card, this energy, is asking you to let these wounds scab and grow at dawn, at the new moon, on the heaviest moment you find yourself in. We engage in cyclical self-sabotaging because both of our choices and our oppressors The Three of Swords is bleeding for you, asking you to take care of yourself today and contemplate the accountability of your oppressors later. You are surviving. Nitpicking at the scabs of your story only makes the story longer. The story is your past that is better left alone, shining in retrospect when your spirits find their home, but decimated at night when your bones are aching to renew. I love that line of, this energy describes asking you to take care of yourself today and contemplate the accountability of your oppressors later. I think that's so powerful. And then engaging in cyclical self-sabotaging. Definitely resonate with that. And resonate with, sometimes or a lot of the times we work on our healing and we think, okay, I've done the work, or I've definitely done this. I've done the work, my wounds are healed, and then feeling so shitty when something happens, or you go on a journey, but feeling so shitty because you find yourself again feeling that wound when you thought you had healed. So, I think it's just a reminder of the process that is healing, that is, is cyclical, and, how we like self-sabotage ourselves, how the description was saying, and that line of like taking care of ourselves first before, contemplating how holding oppressors accountable looks like. And I guess what comes to mind, which is also tied to what I was saying, around, folks who are doing work right now, folks that are not able for different reasons. But it's this concept that I call the breaths of justice. So when you think of, like breathing in and then like breathing out, and how some of us in movement work, we're in the breathing in. So taking care of ourselves, taking time, just taking a step back. And then others are in the breathing out. So taking action, doing efforts, And then of course, being in between as well. So it makes me think of that. Yeah, it makes me think of that. So that's, the beginning of our journey. Then we go into the Nine of Pentacles, which is the energy of self-sufficiency, which is Venus in Virgo. So I love this card and I definitely resonate. And I think so many of us, are just experiencing what self-sufficiency means. Others of us have done it for so long, as an antidote to capitalism. And so this is definitely a time that is teaching us that self-sufficiency and just kind of teaching us to rethink and reimagine our own skills. I was being a little hard on myself earlier because I jokingly was saying that, some of the skills that I've learned in the past, I feel like are useless now. And I was just laughing and saying, I don't know how to grow food. I don't know how to make good YouTube videos. I don't know how to like do all these things, right? But again, I think it's just like reimagining, the skills that we have and just like learning new skills, but definitely also exchanging, right? That's where a lot of like community efforts come into place. So like trading, exchanging strategies, skills, all these things. And I actually learned how to change a flat tire this week, so I'm so proud. So let's see what the description says. Pentacles. Okay. Sitting in top of a sanctuary of her own doing, the Nine of Pentacles lives and breathes self-sufficiency. This card is reminding you that you're capable of this. You can do it. After diligence, determination, editing, and self-checking comes pride, honor, and whimsical completion. Nine of Pentacles is asking you to own your work, define your privileges, and slowly combine them in order to practice the kind of self-sufficiency that results in patience and generosity. I love that. That results in patience and generosity. So the results of self-sufficiency not being what we've been conditioned to believe, results to be, like very metric oriented or things like that. But in the process of self-sufficiency, because you're learning and like teaching yourself skills or sharing with people, that takes time, and effort, and it just takes trial and error. So you gain patience, and once you learn, you're able to be generous and just like share that with the world, which is so beautiful. So self-sufficiency. So what kinds of skills are you working on, and or are you like learning, or that you would like to know? So definitely Nine of Pentacles energy that I'm personally feeling in the moment, that I think others are feeling. The next card in our journey is the Page of Swords, the home of action. So I think this card is a perfect continuation to self-sufficiency. Like once you've gone, done your inner work, connected to yourself, to your skills, your talents, then moving into action. So let's see what the description says. I also feel like with the Nine of Pentacles, just again thinking about the way that we've been conditioned to this, like go to college, go to school, like get a job, pay bills. It just seems like everything has been so backwards instead of first going within, and then just like working on your craft. So, Page of Swords cuts through the walls that divide us from privatized natural resources. She rallies other warriors, teachers, activists, youth. She laughs when she laughs when seen as a monster in the eyes of industry, environmental terrorists, and white supremacists. She rallies the Court of Swords as her affinity group, together ensuring a radical array of ancestral gifts in the front lines of any revolution. The Page of Swords is asking you to cut through the roles that are forced onto you. She's asking you to speak your highest truth, fight your greatest fight, scam your greatest enemy, and rage with your fullest heart. Whose side are you on? I just want to repeat this again. She's asking you to speak your highest truth, fight your greatest fight, scam your greatest enemy, and rage with your fullest heart. And then the sentence before that, she's asking you to cut through the roles that are forced onto you. I resonate with that so much. So much. I don't know if you do, but even work that we love, or that I love, that I had love, and I'm grateful for all my life experiences and everything that I've been able to do and learn, and again all the opportunities. And I also hold that many times I don't know if that's what I wanted to do. And that's my eternal question. What is it that I want to do? So I think again it's just like doing the inner work to figure out what that is. What fulfills you. Where do you want to put your energy? Where do you want to put your love, your rage? So cutting through those walls. And definitely this is gonna connect to purpose and mission. And I think we have a card that speaks about that, and it's something that I just been reflecting on a lot. So yeah, it's just a beautiful card, beautiful journey. So the next card is the Seven of Pentacles, La Abuelita, Granny. And this is Vision, and is Saturn in Taurus. And look at the beautiful imagery inspired in Puerto Rico. So let's see what the abuelita says. Definitely lots of, listening to our ancestors, and taking their guide, but also creating our own world. So Seven of Pentacles is a body of work created by abuelita, a vision in the making for 50 to 70 years. The Seven of Pentacles started her work as a labor of love, a project deeply seated in her love of beauty, nature, and sparkling creations. Through the years, her plans strayed from her heart and into the outside world as her community fell in love with her work. Abuelita learned that perseverance without expectation was a gold mine after years of making art with her heart. Our bodies execute magic daily, and your destination will blur if you forget the journey. Honor your creations and listen to your highest self. Echoing from 50 years in the future, whenever you are is more than enough. That's so beautiful. I just want to read some things again. So this energy, she started her work as a labor of love, a project deeply seated in her love of beauty, nature, and sparkly creations. And through the years, her plans strayed from her heart into the outside world. She learned that perseverance without expectation was a gold mine after years of making art with her heart. Honor your creations and listen to your higher self, echoing from 50 years in the future. Wherever you are is more than enough. So what was I saying about purpose and vision? And I just, I love that card, and talking about love and creation, and again, like just existing, just creating, because it makes us happy, and doing things because it makes us feel fulfilled and joyful and in community, and not necessarily because it's things that we've been forced into by ourselves, our society, or our families, or expectations, responsibilities. Definitely a connection to the first card where we started our journey, the Three of Swords. And, again, talking about just the creation of love and just being in love and, that magic. And it makes me think about, again, asking myself, like, what is my purpose? I want to be in mission, I want to make sure that I'm being intentional with my energies and my work. And it makes me think of times where I've been open-hearted and just kind of really like giving a lot of love and just a lot of cariño and just giving a lot, but I wasn't necessarily giving myself, that. And I think just finding balance, because so I've been working on giving myself more of that, a lot more, but I find that I don't feel as open-hearted as before with people in general, because I've also been working on boundaries, which is really important. I say that to say because many times I would just think about, I'm a very relational person, you know, um, and I just love supporting others. But what can I do with that? It's like, it's not like I can necessarily make a living of loving people, at least not in this society. Mm. And I know it can be transferred into work, into movement work, but I just used to like tell myself that and ask myself that. But anyway, I just say that because, yeah, just like the contradictions of finding